Donald Trump has been held in contempt of court. He'll be fined $9,000, and the judge in New York has threatened him with jail time if there are any further violations of the gag order. Now, why would Trump stand for this? Trump has certainly spoken out. He's criticized the judge. He's criticized the trial. But the charges against him have no basis in statutory law. That is to say, they are charging Donald Trump with a misdemeanor that is beyond the statute of limitations that they have upgraded to a felony because of some underlying crime that they have not actually laid out. Interestingly, even after I think we're on day 9, there has still been no evidence in court that Donald Trump was involved in whatever it is they are alleging. They're claiming that Trump orchestrated a scheme to bury negative stories to influence the election, which is not a crime. And even with that allegation, there's no evidence he actually did, because his lawyer and a guy who ran a media publication had apparently communicated with each other to suppress negative stories about Trump. Where's Trump's involvement? Now, it's entirely possible that in the coming days, the prosecution will come out with some evidence they say will directly connect Donald Trump to this scheme. Still, the problem remains there's nothing illegal here. That's it. It's remarkable to see some of these focus groups. You had one video where a woman's saying, you wrote these things for your lawyer. You did it. And it's like, that's really fascinating. You did it, but it is not a crime. It would be like criminally charging someone for eating a bologna sandwich and then having a witness be like, I saw him eat bologna. And then, we got him. You get him what? He ate a sandwich. Trump paid a lawyer. The lawyer did whatever. I don't know. Where's the evidence that Trump did anything illegal? But here it is. Trump now being threatened with jail again. And the question, of course, I go back to is, why would Trump stand for this? Well, my favorite theory, actually, you have Democrats saying Trump wants to be arrested. Makes sense, I guess. You know, Michael Malice had a tweet about this. He said, it's not the 4D chess victory people think it is. He's in court. He's being accused of crimes and people are falling for it. I'm paraphrasing, but something to that effect. Well, some Democrats theorize that Donald Trump is only playing along because he wants them to overplay their hand and put him in jail. He thinks it's going to boost him up in the polls. With everything going on in New York, Trump in the polls hasn't flinched. This may be the case. Perhaps Donald Trump wants to get arrested. Now, of course, there's always that meme where it's like the guy says, haha, joke's on you. I was only pretending to be stupid. I don't know. I don't. Many people believe that if Donald Trump is actually put in jail and put in cuffs, he will win. They will make him a martyr. Perhaps. Or maybe Trump just doesn't want to go to jail, so he's complying. But if that were the case, why would he violate the gag order? You see? Maybe the reality is Trump is hoping to go to jail so that he can accuse the Democrats of all of this wrongdoing. Now, aside from this being held in contempt, which is big news, and we'll cover all this, Donald Trump has given an interview to Time magazine outlining what he plans to do. And it includes building camps and using the military to deal with migrants and let states monitor pregnancies. Somehow, I believe that's all out of context. Sure. We'll read this. And then there's the great accusation that, let me see this one. Is this, where do we have the, I don't actually pulled it up. There's an accusation that Donald Trump was given devil horns. Actually, let me pull up the tweet here because I do have it. We have brick suit. Oh, no, it appears to have been deleted. Okay, I think people are realizing that the devil horns on Trump was fake news. So it's actually gone already. But in the cover of Time magazine, you have Trump sitting in front of it. Someone is sharing a fake image where Trump appears to have devil horns, but it appears to be fake. But we'll get into this and talk about Trump's plans. We'll start with Trump being held in contempt of court. But I'll pause here to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Roundhouse Provisions. Have you ever wondered what happened to Chuck Norris? Recently saw a video he made, and I was pretty impressed. He's in his 80s, and he's still kicking butt, working out and staying active. What's even more shocking is he says he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of leftover energy for his grandkids. He did this by just adding morning kick to his diet. It combines all 10 of his favorite ingredients into one daily drink. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started taking morning kick too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/cast or by clicking the link in this video in the description below. It will change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/cast. Click on the link in the description below to watch the video now. You won't believe how simple it is. Just a reminder that Chuck Norris is a whopping 81 years old and has more energy than most people. He discovered he could create dramatic changes to his health simply focusing on 3 things that sabotage our body as we age. Watch his method by clicking the link in the description below, chuckdefense.com/cast. Of course, become a member at timcast.com to support our work. All the stuff we do, it's only possible because you guys are members at timcast.com. Help us build culture and our physical locations. Go to timcast.com, click join us, join our Discord server. Let's read the news from NBC. The judge presiding over Donald Trump's hush money case on Tuesday held the former president in criminal contempt over a series of posts on Truth Social that he said violated a gag order barring any attacks on jurors and witnesses and warned Trump he could be jailed for further violations. Judge Juan Merchan ruled Trump in contempt for 9 violations of his gag order with a fine of $1,000 for each instance. He warned in the decision that he would not tolerate further violations of the gag order and said if necessary and appropriate under the circumstances, he would impose, I love this quote, an incarceratory punishment on the former president. The judge explained that because of the fines, which are limited by state law, were relatively little in comparison to Trump's wealth, they might be unlikely to deter the former president from abiding by the court's order. Merchan said that while he would prefer to impose commensurately larger fines, he instead had to consider whether in some instances jail may be a necessary punishment. You will not silence this man. Donald Trump has, in my opinion, gotten the he has to win some kind of meritorious award for his statement about Bill Burr. Bill Barr. Bill Burr's the comedian, right? Their names are so similar. Where he said, I called him, what do you call him? Like fat, slow-moving, lazy, lethargic. And seeing as he endorsed me, and I accept his wholehearted endorsement, I will now remove lethargic from my statement. Trump, so good. So good. Trump's not going to stop. The gag order prohibits the former president from making or directing others to make public statements about known or reasonably foreseeable witnesses concerning their potential participation in the investigation or in this criminal proceeding. Public statements about any prospective juror or any juror. Merchan said Tuesday that his order was lawful and unambiguous and that Trump violated it with social media posts about witnesses and public comments about jurors. He ordered Trump to remove 7 of the posts at issue from the Truth Social account and 2 other offending posts from his campaign website by 2:15 p.m. Tuesday. I hope he doesn't. I hope Trump says no. The judge has gagged Trump. But Cohen and other people involved in the case are not gagged, are speaking about the case, are attacking Donald Trump, and Trump's not allowed to respond? Nope. Trump should say no. Look, when it comes to defamation and slander, the argument is, well, if you're a public figure, you can just speak to counteract the lie, so have at it. But if Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels, or anyone else in the case is disparaging Trump, and Trump can't say anything about it, then there is no remedy. So this it's obscene. Trump should speak. He should legally challenge the fines, appeal to a higher court. The judge also said in response to Trump's complaints about the comments of expected witnesses Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels have made outside the court, he might consider modifying the gag order to remove them from its protections if he finds it necessary in the future. You see? Yeah, maybe I'll tell them that you can respond. Cohen said in a statement in response to the judge's decision that the small fine is irrelevant. Judge Merchan's decision elucidates that his behavior will not be tolerated and that no one is above the law. This is contempt of court. It's not law. Merchan had indicated on April 23rd that he was not impressed by the arguments from the defense, telling one of Trump's attorneys that he was losing all credibility when he suggested that Trump was exercising caution to comply with the gag order. Prosecutors from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office had accused Trump of violating Merchan's April 1st order at least 10 times. The DA sought the maximum $1,000 fine for each post they considered a violation, along with an order that Trump remove the post. So that's basically what they ruled. Blah, blah, blah. We get it. The question is, will Trump go to jail? Don't know. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records related to his reimbursement to Cohen for the lawyer's hush money payment to Stormy Daniels in the closing days of the 2016 campaign. Daniels claims she had an adult encounter, with Trump in 2006, an allegation he denies. Trump faces up to 4 years in prison if he's convicted. And this is state level, meaning even if Trump wins the presidency, he will not be able to pardon himself or get out of jail. Now, what will Trump do should he win? Trump tells Time magazine what he will do if he wins the 2024 election: build camps and use the military to deal with migrants and let states monitor pregnancies. Wow. Well, here's what they say. Americans can expect a 15 million person deportation operation and implementation of programs designed to monitor women who violate abortion bans if Donald Trump wins another White House term in 2024. Trump is ready to reshape American policy and detailed in interviews with Time magazine. In a wide-ranging interview at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida on April 12th, the former president confirmed he would use detention camps to house illegal immigrants during deportation efforts. I want to pull up this. I'm going to pull up this image purportedly, and here we go. What is this? I'm going to pull it up anyway. This is a tweet from Dom Luker that has been being spread around. People apparently saw this image and started reposting it. It is not real. As far as I can tell, it's not real. Dom Luker says they gave President Trump devil horns. They know he is the end of their era. Seeing Donald Trump in Time tells me everything I need to know. He already won, and they are just trying to make it acceptable for everybody. And of course, he says he launched his update to Time magazine on YouTube. People are saying they're corrupt, blah, blah, blah. The only problem is this is the tweet from the author, Eric Cortellessa. This is the guy who actually wrote it. And at 9 a.m, he posted this image. Trump does not have devil horns. So I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm seeing a lot of people share the image I believe to be fake. But let's read as to what Trump is planning. Now, here's the context. In a wide-ranging interview at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida on April 12th, the former president confirmed he would use detention camps to house illegal immigrants. He also didn't rule out deploying the military to round up the millions of undocumented immigrants living in the country. There's a big difference between saying, I don't know, maybe, and saying you will. So when the headline says build camps and use the military to deal with migrants, that is fake news. Trump has repeatedly said he would take aggressive actions to address the border issue on day one of a second term after President Joe Biden reversed almost all of his policies and plunged the country into an all-out illegal immigration crisis. All right, I'm just going to say it. If there is going to be a civil war, the catalyst is going to be illegal immigration, not abortion. I'll tell you why. You know, I long thought that abortion could be, it's a moral issue questioning personhood. And in the United States, slaves were considered not to be individuals who had rights. They were property. And we asked this question. They were abolitionists. And eventually it came to a civil war that saw the end of this practice. And it's a human atrocity, slavery. But with abortion, the babies can't fight back. You see, with slavery, you had former slaves advocating on their behalf. You had people fleeing, going to the north, and then working really hard to end slavery. Yeah, babies can't do that. The unborn can't do that. So I don't really see abortion sparking this issue. If there's a former slave who goes and makes friends and says, I need your help to free my friends, they say, wow, your friends are being held captive. But the babies aren't doing that. People who survive abortions often don't know. If they do, they might advocate for pro-life issues, but no one's sitting there saying we have to go save these babies, and the babies aren't certainly calling for help. They're in the womb. But illegal immigration, I'll tell you why. If it is true that Trump is going to build camps and that Donald Trump will use the military, I want you to imagine what this looks like. California, home to many illegal immigrants. I think the estimate might be like 1 million or 2. Donald Trump sends in ICE. CBP begins enforcement at the border. And California resists. People who live in California start human chains around buildings to protect illegal immigrants. ICE says, we don't care, it's the law, and starts pulling these people from their homes. I want you to imagine this, a photo. A mother who is maybe 38, 40 years old. 20-year-old child, 18-year-old, or no, let's do a better photo. A woman who is 30 with a 10-year-old child. And there is an ICE agent pulling her away from her 10-year-old son who's crying with tears, reaching out, and ICE agents grabbing the child. The woman is screaming and reaching out. Because the woman is an illegal immigrant who is going to be deported. But the child was born in America and is an American citizen. Now, Trump may avoid these things by taking the mother and the child. And then you have an image of a mother with her son huddled as officers are loading her into a vehicle. Police cruiser, wagon of some sort, a bus, who knows? Those photos, both of them bad, one obviously worse. Yeah, California will resist that. Many of these blue states will not allow Donald Trump to do this. Riots could erupt. If they do, and Trump does decide to bring in the military to enforce our laws and secure this nation, you will have a split. The left will argue that the undocumented citizens, as they've been calling them increasingly, should have every human and inalienable right that is granted, and simply because they're not documented shouldn't restrict them of their rights. Donald Trump will say they're not citizens. They have no rights in this country. You have constitutional rights, you do, but you don't have a right to be here. So they may have free speech and freedom of movement, but they broke the law, they will be deported. I wonder, what we already saw in Texas, the Biden administration says we are going to allow all of the illegal immigrants in. Texas says no. I think it was Operation Lone Star, as they call it. National Guard gets deployed to the border and blocks federal agents. They stop. But precedent is set. Let's say Trump wins and ICE does not have the capability. They don't. There's not enough ICE agents to round up 12, 13 million people. So Trump says, we are going to send in National Guard to assist, because that's what the National Guard can do. They can be called upon when typical law enforcement is strained and cannot enforce the law. The states resist. They say, we're not going to allow you in. Will it rise to the point where National Guard stands against National Guard? We already saw that to a certain degree with the Texas border, federal agents versus National Guard. And the Alaskan National Guard's called in to appear sometime next year by the Biden administration, and they will stand against Texas National Guard. That should get interesting. But imagine what will happen if Trump really does start loading up people onto buses and military vehicles to send them to camps. What are you going to do? You can't just arrest them, put them in a jail cell, and then get them on a plane and fly them back. They would have to be held in camps where they would then be loaded onto trains in large numbers and sent back to their home countries. You think Mexico is going to let them in? Yeah, not going to happen. So what will Trump do, and how will Trump actually deal with this? They are going to post every photo, every person being loaded onto a train. They're going to say to every single one of these officers, you know, these trains are going to camps. The camps are going to have horrible living conditions. It's going to be a disaster. I do not endorse this. I think Trump should secure the border, and we should begin a simple, light, and methodical deportation process that involves no military, no camps, none of that. Now, as for those who come at the southern border and are being held in CBP facilities, well, I don't know what you do about. The left has claimed they're concentration camps. It's like the people are begging to get in. That I get. I'm saying Trump should not round people up in cities, build camps, and then send them to them. No. It should be slow and methodical and one at a time. You're here illegally, you're being deported. One at a time with no added infrastructure other than personnel. They'll get held in jails and they'll be deported very quickly. That's how it should be done. The photos may show a woman being taken from her child. Yup. And then she will be calmly and politely placed on a plane where she will fly back to her home country. That is the way to do it. It will be expensive. It will be arduous, and it will take years, probably longer than Trump has in office. But that's the way you do it. The way you do not do it is you do not send in the military to round up masses of people and put them in camps. I do not endorse that. In fact, I reject that. That would be a massive, major mistake. We'll see. In the meantime, I'll let you guys know that we are actually working on setting up an interview with the great Donald Trump, former president, the greatest president of my lifetime, a man of many mistakes. I can accept all of that and still recognize he's the best president of my life. I don't know what that means for the previous presidents, but it's a fact. For all his faults and all his problems, I can point to the failures of the past presidents and say Trump was the best. Now, of course, they come out and say, what about the indictments? It's fake. It's nonsense. There's not even statutory law behind this. I'll read just a little bit more. They say Trump's proposals would include tapping local law enforcement, National Guard, and if necessary, U.S. military to round up illegal immigrants for deportation. Time national politics reporter Eric Cortellessa asked Trump if he would override the Posse Comitatus Act. Well, these aren't civilians, the former president replied. These are people that aren't legally in our country. This is an invasion of our country, an invasion like probably no country has ever seen. They're coming in by the millions. I believe we have 15 million now. And I think you have 20 million by the time this ends. And that's bigger than almost every state. He also said it isn't likely he would have to house these immigrants in detention camps because he plans to deport them swiftly. But he didn't rule out building more holding centers if needed during the operation. No, I would not rule out anything, but there wouldn't be that much of a need for them because of the fact that we're going to be moving them out. We're going to bring them back from where they came. You see, always they put it out of context. Trump didn't say, I'm going to build camps and use the military. He says, I'm not going to rule out anything. And they turn it into that. You see how they manipulate? Trump is actually basically saying what I said. You know, the military makes sense in what Trump is saying. They're not citizens, but Trump should understand this. If the military tries to assist in the deportation of these people, civilians will intervene in places like California, New York, and Illinois, in which case the military cannot do anything. So it is not the appropriate move. National Guard, perhaps. I recommend swift deportations, but with existing infrastructure, utilizing perhaps an increase in personnel. So what we already have, but you're going to have to work overtime. That's the way you go about doing it. But they're going to try and make it seem like the worst possible thing imaginable. They're going to say that Trump took a lukewarm position on abortion earlier this month. I reject that. Trump took the Republican position. Leave it to the states. Many pro-lifers want him to go further. Trump took the Republican position. I guess the question will be not whether or not Trump will deploy the military or build camps. The question right now is, will Trump win? That's up to you. If you're registering people to vote, if you're improving your life, if you're becoming the best version of yourself, are you working out? Are you getting in shape? And are you registering people to vote? Unregistered voters right now are leaning towards Trump. That means just go out and register everybody. I hope you're ready. It's going to be wild. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.